Now that you know some of the key features of graphs, let's practice drawing some graphs. I'm on page 204 of the textbook, and they're giving us some examples so that we can practice that vocabulary that we learned. So I'm going to walk you through example 1, and I know the graph is already there if you're looking at the textbook, but I want you to see where it came from. So this is example 1 on page 204. And I do need a coordinate plane. Let's try to... That is not even straight. We're off to a good start, aren't we? I'm off to a good start. Okay, that's straight. And then let's bring in the y-axis. And it says to use the sketch a graph with the following features. The y-intercept is 4. So I'll count up from the x-axis to the point 0, 4. There's the y-intercept. The x-intercepts are at -2, -1, 1, and 2. So there are 4 x-intercepts. There is one relative maximum, 4. It occurs at one point. So if it can occur only at one point, it has to be the y-intercept. In other words, I can't put it over here because that would be 2 points. So it has to be the y-intercept. So they're telling me that that is the relative maximum. And that there's only one relative maximum. So I'll go ahead and make that the max. That means that the graph cannot go any higher than that point. There is one relative minimum, -2, and it occurs at 2 points. And then the graph is symmetrical about the y-axis. So that tells me that this, the relative minimum of -2 would have to be here and here. Okay, the graph is symmetrical about the y-axis. The end behavior on the left is the same as the end behavior on the right. So I am ready to graph this thing, and I think I'm going to have to freehand it. I'll try it and see. Just bear with me a second, and let's see what happens. But before, when I've been doing this, it's wanted to make, I'm going to have to freehand it, so it won't be very pretty, but you'll get the idea. So it's going to come down here and hit the minimum, bounce back up and hit the maximum, back down to the minimum, and then back up so that I'll be a monkey's uncle. That did it again. Down to the minimum, up to the maximum, down to the minimum, up to the maximum. And the end behavior is the same on both sides. So something resembling this. There's the maximum. There are the relative minimums. And then the intercepts are in place. And their graph is much prettier than mine, but it is basically saying the same thing. So let